Hope you're not too late.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Long talks, long talks. Talk just a little bit, just for the sake of it. Say what you think of it. Long talks, long talks. Talk just a little bit, just for the sake of it. Say what you think of it. Long talks, long talks. Talk just a little bit, just for the sake of it. Say what you think of it.
Welcome to Jumanji.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 69. Ooh la la. Sorry, why did I say that? It's been a long evening. Welcome to episode number 69 of the Woolong Talks podcast. Hi, my name is Jason. I'm the host of the show, as you know by now. And I am not joined by the Rustling Kid, aka Rich Kid, this week. He's actually off camping with his family this week. And he apparently seems to be enjoying it, but I'm sure he'll tell you all about it when he's back on the next show. But before he went, he was moaning like a drain about having to camp. He really did not want to do it. So it's quite ironic that he's out there enjoying himself now. But as I said, when he's back on the show next week, I'm sure he'll fill you in with all the gory details of his sleepless nights shared with bugs and worms and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. If this is the first time listening to Woolong Talks, welcome. What we do here is myself and Rich and sometimes some guests discuss movies, TV, pop culture, comic books, games, all the kind of stuff that you love, basically, and the reason why you clicked on this podcast. So what we're going to do on this episode is kind of have just a quick chat about some of the anime that me and my little 6-month-old son Quincy have been enjoying. That's why this episode is called Mad Dad Anime Dad Part 2. Part 1 we recorded a little earlier because it was something that I just observed with my son, really, where for those of you who've got newborns or have had newborns, they're very interested in bright colors and movement, and anime seems to be the perfect form of entertainment for him because there's just constant movement, constant bright colors, constant noise, and I think he just becomes absolutely transfixed whenever it's on the TV. So he and I usually spend a lot of time sitting down and watching anime shows. In part 1 we talked about Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, which was probably his favorite one, the one that he kind of got most absorbed by. I say his favorite one like he understands what was going on the screen. He doesn't, but I mean, he is 6 months old, so yeah, you got to make allowances for that. But yeah, it was the one that he definitely seemed to respond to the most, and we finished that off. We completed the series, and it was quite a good watch as well. But as a result of that, we started trying out some other shows too. One of the shows that we've got into recently is a new one, which is called Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. It's a really good shonen series. It's started very recently. I mean, like literally, I guess it must have appeared on Crunchyroll about a month ago, or maybe I'm thinking maybe 2 months actually. Yeah, 2 months is probably more accurate. But it started very recently on Crunchyroll, and as I said in the first part, where I signed up for a Crunchyroll account because I felt like I was missing out on a lot of anime stuff, and the sources I used to use for it were a bit unreliable, and I couldn't really enjoy it from the comfort of my sofa. I kind of had to do some technological jiggery pokery in order to get to where I wanted to be with the shows that I wanted to watch. So I decided to sign up for the Crunchyroll account, and as I also mentioned on part 1, Crunchyroll's great in terms of the content, but the usability of it can be a bit hit and miss at times. The app isn't necessarily that stable, and I'm not sure what servers they use, but whole episodes of shows that you're watching can just disappear, which is quite frustrating. But all in all, I mean, it has been an improvement, and it's got me and my son watching stuff together. So, generally 2 thumbs up, I guess. But yeah, we've been watching this show, as said, Demon Kimetsu no Yaiba. And it's a really, really good shonen. I mean, it's the kind of one that I generally wouldn't go for straight away. It's the kind of show that I think can easily be a little bit too melodramatic for me, which is an odd thing to say if you're a fan of anime because melodrama is something that they absolutely love. But um, this one, it actually pictures it just about right for me. But anyway, basically the story is about a kid, this adorable kid actually called Tanjiro, who lives in a rural part of Japan in the sort of turn of the 19th century, I think it is. Um, and in this rural area, they kind of live in fear of these demon beings that stalk the night and kind of are always on the hunt for human flesh. So the villagers barely ever go out. And Tanjiro works as like a woodcutter and generally an odd jobs man. And I said he's quite a young kid. I'm not sure exactly how old he is, but the way that people sort of talk to him suggests he's maybe mid to late teens. But he is kind of the head of his household, of his family, because his father is dead. So he kind of is the guy who the responsibility falls on to go out and work to provide for the family. So he cuts down trees and he chops wood and, as I said, does odd jobs in the local town. And one day when he goes out to do his work and comes back in the evening, he finds his family has been slaughtered. Um, and it's really hard to take because it's really well acted, that particular scene, and the voice actors do a really good job with the character at that point. So it's really really difficult to take because it's such a painfully drawn out scene. So you're there to experience kind of all of the emotion with Tanjiro and the sense of loss as well. And as I said, the voice actor does a really good job with his character at that point. And he discovers that his sister is still partially alive, which comes across as kind of crazy because when you see the state of the family's left in, boy, you're thinking like, how the hell did they manage to did his sister manage to escape that, but she does, but she hasn't escaped unscathed, because she then tries to attack Tanjiro, and it's revealed that um, Nezuko, who's his sister, has been turned into a demon. Um, and so, she said first thing she does is she tries to attack him. Then this demon hunter shows up, looking all slick and badass with like, these crazy colors on his kimono, which he wears on top of like an all black uniform that all the demon slayers wear. And he's got this katana, and he's just like a magician with this katana. He can cut anything, as they always are in anime. But um, he goes to defend Tanjiro to try and kill Nezuko, and Tanjiro stops him and is like, "No, that's my sister. She's the only family I've got left, and I'm going to try and save her life." Which the Demon Slayer thinks, "Well, you're kind of crazy, but okay, if that's what you want to do, then the least I can do is show you how you can defend yourself." So he goes off on this journey with his sister to go and be trained to become a demon slayer. So he goes through all of this rigorous training, and then eventually becomes, as said, becomes this demon slayer, and then has to go out into the world and face demons and slay them. All of this he's doing so he can kind of try and find a way to turn his sister back into human, and also because he wants revenge as well, obviously. And the demon that we think is responsible for killing his family and for turning his sister is, of course, slick as hell and OP to fuck. So yeah, he's going to have a battle on his hands to get to the point where he's able to do that. But the series, as I said, is really good. I would recommend it. Quincy enjoys, I think, the use of color in the outfits that the characters wear, because the character designs in this are really, really cool. Especially the demons. There's some kind of quite unique ideas and quite original ideas for the demon designs. It's not just kind of, let's draw something with fangs and wings. I mean, yeah, sure, there's stuff like that, but they've also kind of put some thought into the different demon designs, which is kind of cool for this show. And as I said, it's very well designed. It's the character design is great. The action scenes are great. Um, the voice work is really good. It's unexpectedly quite humorous in some places and quite touching in other places as well. And the writers have done a really good job with it. So I've really enjoyed it, and Quincy's really enjoyed it. There has been a little bit of controversy about the series and how it's ranked, because there's been some ranking online via an online website, where people have been kind of discussing how good the series is, and it's been scoring quite highly. And some people have been suggesting that it's fixed, which seems a bit harsh to me, because as I said, I'm actually enjoying the show and I didn't expect to enjoy it at all. um, but it's done the things that it does very well, and so I can't really see why anybody would want to do that and would want to try and fiddle with it in that way. So for me, it's working really well. So I would definitely recommend that you check out Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. That's approved by me and the Q Kid. So yeah, get watching that. As I said, it's available on Crunchyroll at the moment. So if you've got a Crunchyroll account, you should be able to find it there, and I'm sure you can find it other places as well if you don't use Crunchyroll. Another show me and Q have been watching a lot of recently is one called To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts, which is also available on Crunchyroll, obviously, and is another shonen as well. It's kind of like a dark fantasy series, and it's basically set up so that it's kind of like a take on the American Civil War in a way. Effectively, what happens is there's this nation called Patria that's kind of split in two by war, between the North and the South. Although interestingly, not over slaves in this anime. So yeah, draw your conclusions there. But yeah, so these two sides are effectively at war, and one side is sort of industrial, which is the North, and the other side is more of a mining side, which is down south. When the South kind of had bigger numbers and better technology and was really outnumbering the North kind of deployed a secret weapon that they had, which was called the Incarnates. Um, Basically, the Incarnates are these soldiers who can transform themselves into like these mythical creatures, like minotaurs and giant spiders and all kinds of like crazy stuff, basically. And with this power, the Incarnates were able to kind of swing the war into the North's favor, and then ultimately, um, the North really kind of made a massive difference thanks to the Incarnates. Well, the Incarnates then find that the war ends very suddenly, that a peace treaty is signed between the two sides, and they decide they don't want to war with each other anymore. And that kind of leaves the Incarnates at a loose end. And one thing that they notice with one of them is that it starts just randomly attacking soldiers on its own side. Um, the Incarnate that does that is then put down, and they realize that this kind of power that these soldiers have slowly drives them crazy and will make them do things that they normally wouldn't do. And so ultimately, the decision is made that the Incarnates aren't safe and that they need to be destroyed. Um, so the leader of the Incarnates, a guy called Hank Henriette, who's like the commanding officer of them, who turns into a giant werewolf, and it's just freaking cool. Um, he kind of makes this vow that if any of the Incarnates start to lose their mind, he's going to be the one to put them down, because he kind of owes them that much for the sacrifice that they've made. Um, and when the medical officer, who he's also in love with, comes up with a way of being able to kill the Incarnates, um, she's then impromptuly murdered by. Sorry, impromptuly is not a word. I don't know where that came from. She suddenly is murdered out of the blue by his second in command, a guy called Cain. Yep, yet another anime bad guy called Cain. It's like the biblical references just flow off the tongue for them. But yeah, Cain, surprise, surprise, betrays him and kills Dr. Elaine, who was coming up with the way to control the Incarnates and to ultimately kill them. And he decides he's going to lead a rebellion with the incarnates who are still loyal to him, following him. So Hank decides that he's going to go on this mission to try and get revenge by killing Kane and by stopping these incarnates, as said, before they cause any chaos and endanger the human lives around them. And this is another show that's really got like these character designs down really, really well. The incarnates themselves, as said, they're all kind of based on different mythological beasts. So there's all sorts of things in there. There's minotaurs, as said, Pegasus. There's vampires, werewolves, Hydra. There's all the kind of like great mythical creatures you can think of are represented in some way within the incarnates, which is kind of cool. So it shows the writers are trying to incorporate that. And again, being a shonen, one of the things that really stands out about this series is the action scenes, which are really phenomenal, quite bloody and up in your face, and really well pitched. And it's so cool to see, these kind of, as I said, these mythical beasts kind of taking each other on one-on-one or two-on-one in certain scenes. And it's very entertaining overall. It's a very entertaining watch. There's not much that I can say that I've invested in emotionally with this series, really. It's all kind of fairly predictable from a plot point of view. So whilst, I do enjoy it, it's not necessarily the best kind of shonen that Quincy and I have started watching. But yeah, it is good. It's good fun. And it does feel that need for kind of something that's fast paced and gory and quite entertaining to watch. So I would definitely recommend that one. Again, Q's 6 months old, so like I'm not too bothered about the gore with him because he really doesn't know what's going on. Although he does seem to like Hank when he transforms into a werewolf, because he turns into this giant kind of white werewolf at midnight, and it's quite stunning, the character design, and he always kind of like goes when the werewolf comes on the screen, which is really funny. I need to film him one of these days and stick it on our Instagram. I'll probably do that. But yeah, it is really quite entertaining. But as I said, it's quite lightweight, so I wouldn't expect nothing too heavy from this. And if you're the type who likes a denser story with the shonen, then yeah, there's probably better ones you could find. So those are the two that we've really been getting into. I've got another one which is on our queued list, which is called Fire Force. I really don't know much about it, so I can't really talk about it today, so I'll save that for part 3. We've also managed to completely finish all of One Punch Man, so we'll definitely talk about that. And Richard has finally started watching One Punch Man, so we'll get his thoughts on the next part of this as well. And there's a couple of others as well that I've got my eye on. So yeah, we'll definitely cover some more. So I'll have to do a part 3 recording, I think, to squeeze all of that in. Now, aside from the anime, I should actually point out that we are starting very soon our 90s Action Movie Fest. We'll be starting off with the Brandon Lee starring action movie Rapid Fire, and we absolutely can't wait. That should be the next episode that's up on our podcast channel, so make sure you look out for that. It was an absolute blast to watch it, and me and Rich can't wait to talk to you about it. We'll also have, of course, the Bebop rewatch continuing. Our most recent episode came out at the beginning of the week, so you can check that out. If you've been following us and enjoying Cowboy Bebop as well, then make sure you check that out too. And we've also been watching Wu Assassins this week as well, so we're definitely going to do a review of that. That will probably be around next week, I reckon. Okay, that's it. That's going to do it for me for this one. I said it's just a short one as Rich ain't here. But I will be back again soon with part 3 of Mad Bad Anime Dad, where we'll fill you in on what else myself and Quincy have been watching. And as said, I'll try and drag Richard into it as well. And we'll be back with other episodes lined up for you very soon. So take care of yourselves. Enjoy the beautiful weather that we're having at the moment. It's lovely. It really is. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Peace. Thanks for listening to us. If you're down with Wulong Talks, show some love by following us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at Wulong Talks. You can also find us online at www.woolongtalks.com or drop us an email at woolongtalkspodcast@gmail.com. We can also be found as part of the Britpod Scene Collective, and we're also officially E14 endorsed. Search for those hashtags to enjoy more content from us and from other great British podcasters.